Naughty Racing League, proudly presented to you by Naughty Gaming, the premium content provider. Here we are at the Nurburgring 24-hour circuit, ready for round 3 of the NRL, and we're away and laughing. Managed to get a pretty good start there with Moose just falling in behind. Mullet and Sneaky having a bit of a battle into turn 1 here, but everybody seems to go through relatively clean. A little bit of argy-bargy coming in for the second part of the chicane, and we just managed to pull away and get a bit of a gap. Moose is hot on our heels, keeping in our slipstream, and Mullet and Sneaky behind seem to be just biding their time. Now what you don't know is the different tyre combinations. So on this circuit it's times 9 tyres, which is an extreme amount, so they only last 2 laps if you're lucky. Now if you're on soft tyres it's 1 lap, medium tyres 2 laps, and if it's hard tyres you can just about get 3 laps. Now it's destined to rain in this race, so it's almost better to start on a soft or medium tyre to try and get an advantage early on. I'm on mediums, and I believe that Moose behind is on mediums, but Mullet in third place is on hard tyres, so that's potentially why he's a little bit slower, but keeping in touch for sure in the slipstream of Moose. We start to just jump away. Fuel saving here isn't really that much of an issue. The Ferrari's pretty good on fuel if you're changing gear around 3/4, but just about everybody is using anti-spin mechanism or stability control, because this Ferrari around here is terrible off the curbs, especially over the back. So just about everybody's using some form of traction control to try and save the tyre, and also a little bit of anti-spin mechanism to help keep it on the straight and narrow and limit that tyre wear completely. Beautiful in-car shot here just in the afternoon, coming through the first part of the Nurburgring 24-hour. It's important to try and carry the speed through these curbs, just not unsettle the car too much. Coming down and out onto the first of the longer straights of the Nurburgring with the fast kink, the infamous GTR incident here. Managed to take that relatively quickly, and Moose behind, we've managed to make a bit of a gap. So pretty much the first lap is just like this, where Moose is behind by a good 3 to 4 seconds already, but manages to keep that gap. Mullet and Moose later on, lap number 2, are definitely having a bit of a fight. You can see that the darkness has started to wane in, and Mullet and Moose are fighting each other to try and get second and third positions sorted out. Definitely a close battle here. Moose seems a little bit loose about this hoose, as Mullet puts a lot of pressure on him, waiting for that mistake, and that certainly happened. Loose Moose. Mullet makes the pass and he's into P2. Now Mullet is the previous champion for McNaughty's NRL League of last season, so he's definitely a hot contender. I'm out in front and pretty much unchallenged. However, the gap is closing with Mullet now on his hard tyres. My medium tyres are definitely starting to show their age. You can see there that Sneaky in the background still in touch, so really the top 5 places still aren't that sorted out. We're only halfway through the race here, and you can see that Mullet's definitely caught me up by the end of lap number 2. We're just about to hit the main straight. I get a little bit better drive out of the corner on my mediums compared to his hards, and we just pull away a little bit, but he's definitely going to be in my slipstream. You're pretty much powerless to do anything. Slipstream strength is set to real, and you're definitely going to end up passing the guy in front. It does take a little bit to get up to full speed, but you can see here now starting to close in slowly but surely, and then the full slipstream effect really gets going, and he is about to pass me. You can't block, obviously, and really it's only halfway through the race, and I'll get a benefit here of a little bit of a tow, can save a little bit of fuel if we were going for another lap. But I'm guessing that he's probably going to pit. I know I definitely am, so no real point fighting for position when it's on a straight and we're both about to pit anyway. So here we are, into the pits. Now, I looked at the weather beforehand and I saw that it was going to rain. So I thought I'd be a bit cheeky here and jump straight onto the intermediates in anticipation of that rain, which should occur around halfway through the lap. Mullet's picked up the medium tyres, Moose is on the hard tyres, Sneaky's on the intermediate tyres, so he's had the same idea as I have, and they are all going to be under the chase. You can see here that Mullet's already picked me up towards the end of the GP circuit and just drives completely around me on his mediums while I'm on intermediates. No surprises there, so really it's just a case of let him go past and try and stick in the slipstream. Sneaky's already wearing out his IMs, and along comes MD Hop on his hards. Moose is on hard tyres as well, and he just chews me up. I leave him room here and the car just does this weird thing and I end up on the grass on the right hand side. We'll just take a look at that again just to see kind of how it happened. I just touched the grass on the way around the outside. I was leaving him room, there was no contact made, there was no problem there. It was just the car did this weird thing and I ended up a little bit too far out. Fast forwarding now, halfway through the lap, you can see Sneaky there on his intermediates. He's wearing them out pretty quickly. I'm just in front of him, so he's chasing me down, but we're in 4th and 5th place now. And finally, after a quarter of the lap, it starts to rain. It's still not wet enough to really make use of the intermediates, but I have a feeling that the others are going to start to suffer. And certainly, Mullet's out in front now. He's only just starting to get a little bit of the rain here, but it starts to absolutely downpour, and you can see that meter start to rise on the left hand side. And he starts to understeer, and he's just clipped that wall, and this is where we start to take the advantage back of those slick tyres versus intermediate tyres. They are a good 17 seconds in front of us though. So I'm on the intermediate tyres as well as Sneaky behind, and we're able to get through this corner so much easier. There's no problems getting up on the curbs, we're able to hold the speed, and we really are starting to hunt them down. You can see Sneaky's hunting me down because he's pushing even harder than what I am, wearing out his tyres a little bit. But by another quarter of the lap, so halfway round, we're definitely caught up to the group. So now we've got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th all starting to close up. Moose just makes some mistakes. He's getting loose again, that Moose. Spawn manages to make his way through, but even he's slipping and sliding. I've got to find a way past as quickly as possible, but it's really difficult to pass on these corners. There's really only one line to get through them, and you can see that Sneaky's impatient and just wanting to get past, so he's definitely giving us a wee hurry up here, a little bit of a tappity tap. Hey, I'm here. No malintents there, just getting caught out because a concertina effect with the slower cars in front. I had to brake a little bit earlier than normal to not hit them. He just pushes me through, get up the inside of Spawn here, a little bit of contact pushing him wide, but managed to not put him on the grass, and then we're straight up onto Mullet. You can see these intermediate tyres working so well, and there we go, Sneaky just goes around the inside and on the grass, diving down the inside here of Mullet. I give Mullet a bit of a push just by accident because he's braking earlier because he knows he's not going to be able to make it around that corner. The winner is Sneaky out of that absolute, well, it was a traffic jam, wasn't it? Moose gets a wee bit of a bump again by me. I don't know whether it was a bit of lag or he just braked a little bit earlier, but nothing too bad. And then threading the needle 3 wide there. Moose just got loose on the outside again, and what was that? That was crazy. Let's look at that again. Here's from my perspective, just threading the needle here. Moose just gets a little bit wide. We managed to go up the inside here, but Spawn hits the brakes as hard as he can. He just lost the back ends. From Moose's point of view, you just saw the back end just swap ends for no reason other than braking hard. So very unfortunate for him. Heavy damages on, so that's kind of his race run. Mullet's chasing me down. You can see here he's on his intermediate tyres. They're not wearing very much. I'm on intermediate tyres. The track is still wet enough to use them. They haven't worn as much as what Sneaky's has, but you can see there he's definitely pulled out a little bit of a gap. It's around 3 seconds just before he jumps into the pits here, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to stay out. I think the tyres aren't going to wear so much, because you can see there on the wetness meter it's even just underneath wet. so I think that the tyres are going to last long. Oh, Mullet just has an absolute moment coming out onto the main straight. He just completely loses the car over the hump and just sends him sideways. He's a passenger. 360 no scope, manages to hit the wall, takes out his front spoiler. That's a shame. Sneaky's in the pits and I'm off down the way. See MD Hop there just jumping past, and Moose again loose. It looks like just under brakes, or maybe a little bit of a helping hand there by Mullet just at the end of the straight, and he turns it around just before he going into the pits, obviously, and then he loses it. Maybe a little bit of contact there by MD Hop as well, but he hits the wall. So now he wants to get into the pits and change because he got all this damage, wants to get off the hard tyres, tries to get back into the pit, boom, reset. Absolutely unbelievable scenes here. Spawn misses the pits as well. This is an absolute calamity. I think that now Moose just says, I'm done with it, I'm just going to go. So absolutely unbelievable just at the end there. So a whole lot of shenanigans. Mullet struggles under his medium tyres to get into the first corner, and Sneaky passes him around the outside on his fresh intermediates. I'm away up now, about to join onto the proper 24-hour or the proper Norschfeld Nurburgring circuit, while Sneaky's only just getting through the chicane. So there's a 9-second lead, but he is actually closing in really fast, even after the pit stop. By this point he's already pulled in almost a second as he has finished off the Grand Prix circuit. So we're into the last lap now. We've got Mullet and MD Hop absolutely gunning for each other, a second on the line. We've got Sneaky and Slipstream, myself, right at the end of the 24-hour circuit now, about to head onto the big long straight. Sneaky is impatient as ever, trying to get past and make sure that he solidifies his first place. He knows he's got the tyre advantage on me, so he's just pushing me a little bit. I'm searching for some cool water to try and make these tyres last, or get some sort of grip on this last corner here out onto the main straight, but he just has so much more of a grip advantage. He gives me a wee tap, push to pass, not quite. It's more like a bump draft, and a strategic one. If he passed me there, then I would have just managed to draft him and pass him towards the end of the straight. So he's done a pretty sensible move there. I've got worn out tyres. You can see there it's a very slow pass. You know, he didn't really take full advantage of that straight and pull out later on. I'm able to come back across here and get into his slipstream, but my tyres are almost shot, so it is a bit dangerous that I may lose the back end. So I just back off just a little bit into the braking zone here. I'm not going to get him unless he makes a mistake here. He just goes wide, but absolutely solid as a rock, takes those corners like an absolute pro that he is, and he's onto the main straight, celebrating, wiggling side to side, and he takes the win. I'm in second place, do the happy wiggle, with MD Hop in third and Mullet in fourth.